Welcome to part 2 of my Resident Evil 2 revisions. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll put the link below in the video description. It's a change to the first boss fight to make it flow better narratively and some small improvements to gameplay. Have a look, then come back to this video. As always, spoilers ahead, you've been warned. Boss 2 in the remake is the Birkin 2 fight at the construction crane area. The fight starts with the player character activating the power to the door that leads to Sherry or Ada. Then Birkin 2 rips through the ceiling, starts a fire, then after running down a long walkway, you push him off the construction platform with a massive crane and a shipping container. It's an okay fight in a very cramped space. The boss moves fast and have some hard-hitting attacks. My changes for Claire A Birkin 2 fight will be pretty minuscule and will remain largely the same, but serves as a huge foreshadowing in the upcoming fight. You start off by activating the power, then Birkin 2 rips the ceiling with his claw. Then you run down the walkway and end up at the crane area. You activate the crane and fight him as normal. After you put him down on his knee twice, his body will start to mutate again. This is the sign to start the crane and send him over the edge. The crane will swing at Birkin 2 and the same scene of Birkin 2 struggling to hold the container will play, except a minor difference. As Birkin 2 struggles with the container, an arm will morph out of his shoulder and steady him against the force. Claire will say something like, "Oh no you don't," then fires 5 bullets from her starting revolver at him, or flame round if the player grabbed the grenade launcher from the RPD. Birkin 2 loses control and get pushed over the edge. Not much changes to Claire A here. I think it's a pretty good boss fight, and it's pretty tough to change it given the location. But I did add a little flavor that foreshadows Birkin 2 mutating into Birkin 3. It'll be a surprise to new players that didn't know this, and it'll keep the veteran players anticipating the Birkin 3 fight. Before moving on to Leon B, I have to address something else. I don't like how Geodol got downgraded into common enemy during the sewer segment, but from a lore perspective, it works. Birkin goes around implementing embryo into various hosts. Once it hatches, it grows into the G-adult very quickly. So it makes sense that the sewers are infested with them. What I want to do is reduce G-adult to only 1, but make it a boss monster, and it stalks Leon during the sewer section. It can pop out to attack from the sewer pipes, from beneath the sewer water. It can lay somewhere waiting for you to get close, or swims to you from behind with sound prompts. To replace the loss of G-adults in the sewer, we can have random appearances of G-embryos leaping out of the water, with some kind of sound or visual cue to attack Leon. There will be more zombies roaming the waters, so you really need to pay attention to the sound that G-embryo gives out and the zombies around you, giving the sewers even more suspense. Claire won't be encountering any G-adult in her run, just G-embryo and zombies. So in my change to the game, as Leon goes to get the flamethrower and the 2 plugs, he will get ambushed by the G-adult twice. First time it will swim towards Leon, second time it will just lay there in waiting. When Leon returns with the 2 plugs, before climbing the stairs to get out of the area, G-adult will emerge, blocking Leon's only way to escape. And this is the first G-adult fight. It will function the same as regular G-adult in the remake, spitting out larvae that swim to Leon and attempt to close in on you. Once G-adult is defeated, it dives back into the sewer water and you're free to climb the ladder. My reason to reduce G-adult to only 1 is 1. Homage to the original RE2, where only 1 G-adult existed. 2. A story change. This is the only G-adult that is old enough to be mutated from a G-embryo. 3. A gameplay change. Throughout the entire game, there is about 4 to 6 G-adults maybe. All of them are in the sewer, and they all fight the same, which I feel is kinda redundant. I'd much rather have one monster that stalks you the entire time like in Alien Isolation rather than fighting a few at set locations. So after you get all the plugs and open the door to Ada, you will go down and flip on the power in the area where Claire previously fought Birkin 2. Leon will see the punctured ceiling and say something like, "Jesus, what the hell happened here?" Leon activates the power and saves Ada. Their cutscene will remain the same. They return to the big chemical room with the bridge that led you to the tram, but as they cross the bridge, the camera will shift over to the tram area. Ada will point at it and say something like, "What the hell is that?" And the G-adult will appear, blocking their way to the tram. This will be the second G-adult fight. And to up the antes, I like to make a few changes, because it's not fun to fight this exact same boss twice. First, this G-adult will be crawling fast towards Leon and Ada, kinda like the first and second Ouroboros monster fight in Resident Evil 5. As for a story explanation to this, think of it as Gyarados gained some new internal mutation after its first fight with Leon, a possible second stage mutation right before its second fight. I don't think it's crazy to assume that if left unchecked, Gyarados will most likely mutate into Gyarados 2 possibly, given how Burka mutated 5 times throughout the game, and how Gyarados is basically Burkan's offspring, carrying its DNA and genes. Like, I'm no expert, but if the parents of a child both have cancer cells in them, wouldn't the child have a very high chance of inheriting the cancer cells? I'm no virologist or biologist, so I'm not sure. Leave a comment below if you know this kind of stuff. Second, this Gyarados will gain the ability to spew a blob of poison acid at the player. Just like how in the game, if you get grabbed by Gyarados and you don't use any defense items, you get poisoned when it vomits all over you. But I added in this ranged twist to keep players on their toes. It wouldn't be used too often as the space is cramped, probably used after a certain amount of damage is taken. It will be telegraphed and deals damage in a large area. If the players have the red and blue herb buff, then they won't be poisoned. This is to make things less frustrating. What if it spews acid on you twice? You get poisoned once, cured, but poisoned again, forcing you to waste a valuable blue herb on it? Nah. These two changes should change the dynamic of this fight from a slow turtle to a frantic finish. Because up to this point, players have been dealing with slow-moving zombies, some dogs, and hopefully avoiding the lickers. We often have enough sightlines to assess the situation carefully and then proceed. So this fight will change up the dynamic of the gameplay against player expectation from the first fight. The monster moves in fast, so players don't have much time to think. It has a long-range poisoning attack, so player can't keep kiting. You can run to other areas, but you have to get to the tram, so getting past this guy is a must. I can see one problem with this change. There's a save room right next to the fight. Players can simply restock in the room and fight a war of attrition against the monster. To combat this, I will propose a few gameplay changes that discourage returning to restock. 1. Gyarados' weak spot is the big eye on its shoulder, covered by a layer of armor that you have to pop first. If the player popped the eye armor and run back to the save room to restock, the layer will quickly regenerate, forcing you to pop it again. 2. This might be a bit controversial. When the player returning to the save room to restock, I want Gyarados to regenerate a portion of its health. Not too much, maybe to a maximum of 50%. If you damaged it to 70% and return to restock, its health stays at 70%. If you damage it to 20% and return to restock, its health will regenerate at a faster rate towards a maximum of 50%. Regen rates may vary in difficulty. This is more of a balance issue and the numbers can be changed easily. After the fight, you will board the tram with Ada to the lab. And this is it, the second boss encounter revisited, addressing the inconsistency of both Leon and Claire fighting the same boss at the same location twice. My version gives them both a different boss to fight and two very different playstyles, but both leading to the same outcome. My only concern here is that I might have broken some rules I set for myself. Given Gyarados' new abilities and promoting it to a boss monster seems a bit too much. What do you guys think? Leave a comment and give me some feedback and criticism. I'm only one guy and I'm not perfect. Next up will be the third boss fight, and I got some changes that I think and hope is pretty damn good. So I will see you guys then.